Alright, so we created our ball, but remember we said that every level has to have, a game mode. Alright, so right now we did not create a game mode for it, but we want to make sure that we will create one. Alright, so right click and hit the blueprint class and then game mode base. Alright, and I'm gonna call it BP underscore ball mode. Alright, give it a name whichever you like, but remember the name. Alright, BP ball mode will be a good name, we only use that. Alright, so open it, and we don't want to mess with anything. We just want to say that this ball mode, has the ball mode has a default pound, and the default pound is the BP ball pound. Alright, so what that does is that it says that, alright, this BP ball mode will be our game mode. Alright, will be the game mode for this level, and we will tell the game mode of this level, alright, the default pound or the character that is playing in this level will be our BP ball pound. What was the BP ball pound? It was the ball that we created earlier, that ball. Alright, okay, so we created our BP ball mode, and now what we want to do, we want to assign it to our level. Alright, we just want to assign that BP ball to our level to make sure that the level loads that game mode as its, as the level's game mode. Alright, so go to edit project settings and go to the maps and modes. Where is it? Here, right here. Go to the maps and modes, default game mode. You see that default game mode? Just click it and click the BP ball mode. Alright, BP ball mode, and then exit out. So now what we did, remember, let's talk about what we did. We created a ball for ourselves, alright, as our character, and then we created a game mode for our level and assigned it to our level that this is the game mode, alright, to use it. And then we opened the game mode and said that, alright, the default pound class, alright, the default pound class is the BP ball pound, the ball that we created earlier. And if you say that why didn't open like the other time that we opened, if you click that open full blueprint, it will load up like this. Right, let me do that again. Oh, it didn't. All right. If we, sometimes it shows like this and sometimes it might show the other way. Right. All right, so let's open the BP ball pound again. And right now this looks a little bit messy, so let me bring that up. Alright, let me tell you something. If you hit Alt and click any of the wires in here, the wire will be gone. Alright, the wire will be gone. Okay, and if you hit Control, if you hold Control actually, and then right click or left click, and then you can move the pin around, right? Move it to another pin. But if you hit Alt, the wire will be gone. Okay, and if you for example, let's do something. Let's do a vector plus vector. All right, let's do a vector plus vector. If you accidentally opened anything like this, whatever it is, and you wanted to remove it, all you have to do is to click it and then hit the delete key on your keyboard, and it will be gone. All right, so right now this looks a little bit messy, so let's make it a little bit better. All right, let's move it around, and the wire in here, that white wire, double click it and it will make this node, which is called a reroute node. What this reroute node does, it does nothing actually, but only makes it visually a little bit clearer. I'm gonna add another one in here. If you double click it, it will add it. Let me do that again. You see, and then hit delete. All right, and like that it looks much better, right? It's not that messy at all. So we created our input accesses. So the last thing we want to do is, click all of it and then hit C to add a comment to it and call it as input force. All right, let's hit compile and save and close that one. Let's bring our ball into the world, right, and hit play. So what you notice right now is that we can't see anything. You know why this happened? It's because it's gonna create the player in here and move our camera right into here. So first of all, what we want to do is to create a camera for our ball. All right, so we go to the viewport and then add component, add a camera. All right, we want to add a camera to our ball, but what we want to do is make sure that the camera is the child of the sphere. All right, so grab the camera, put it onto the sphere, and it will make a child for the sphere, which is the camera. Okay, and hit compile and save again. Move the camera a little bit to this side and then move it up and make sure to rotate it a little bit, maybe, yeah, something like that should work just fine. And let's see what happens this time. Oh, all right, it did not happen again. So the reason for that was that I forgot to delete the BP ball pound in here, because the game mode was created by default, right? Click the BP ball pound and then hit delete, and then what you want to do is to start playing, and then you realize that the camera rotates. Whoa. Hit the escape key and get out of it. All right, let's click that and hit F to get a little bit near to the surface. All right, so what happens was that the camera is now rotating. All right, is now rotating with the ball, but we don't want that. That will be very, very bad. So what we want to do, we want to make sure that, all right, we want to add a spring arm. So what the spring arm does, bring the spring arm and make sure that the camera is the child of the spring arm now. All right, and make the spring arm to be the child of the sphere. All right, so it will be like that: default scene root, then the sphere, then the spring arm, then the camera. All right, do it like this and make sure that the camera is set to the default values. All right, because right now we have the spring arm. Well, the spring arm makes sure that the camera is far away. All right, let me make it like something like 30 or maybe -30. All right, yeah, actually I like that. All right, so what this spring arm does, the spring arm has 2 or 3 jobs that we will assign it right now. The first one is that if an object gets between this line, all right, this line of the the camera, the spring arm makes sure that if the object is right here, all right, the camera will move to here in order to render the ball every time. All right, it makes sure that nothing gets in between that ball and the camera. If something goes in, the camera will come to here and render the ball all the time. All right, and the other thing that we want to do is to make sure that the the spring arm does not let the camera to rotate with the ball. All right, so what we want to do is say that do not inherit pitch, do not inherit yaw, do not inherit roll. All right, and enable the lag. It will make sure that it will not rotate in any direction. All right, and that length, I think we want to make it a little bit target length, maybe 450. Let's make it an even number. Yeah, that would be great. Right, let's hit compile and then save, and this time let's check Yeah, that's much better. Oh, actually, I just realized that. Alright, so I just noticed that my input system is not working correctly, so I'm putting the forward, it goes to the right side and things like that. Let me go to the, alright. I push the W key and it goes to the right side. That's not what I wanted, definitely. So I'm gonna go to the BP ball bound. I'm sure that I did something wrong here. So you see that we have the input axis horizontal, all right? We want to make sure that the input axis horizontal goes to the Y and the input axis vertical goes to the X, all right? Why this is happening? Because, the vertical, all right, the vertical is for forward and backward, which is the X, and the the right and left is for the Y, all right? So we did that wrong. Right now it should work just fine. All right, so it is working fine and it looks great. Alright, so you just created your first character. Congratulations! In the next video, we'll make sure that we make our character a little bit more fun. Alright, see you in the next video.